Okay. So really quick, would it be if the guy said that he asked you out on the date, the end of the date comes, you were otherwise having a good time, but the guy at the end says, hey, let's split the check. Is it a wrap? Really quick, just yes or no?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So my next question is then, have you ever asked a guy out on a date?
No.
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 Yes.
You have?
Yeah.
How many times?
2 times.
2 times.
2 times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you say that you've been asked out more than you've asked out?
Yeah, I've been asked out more.
Sure.
Yeah.
For me, I prefer for the guy to ask me out, but I if I do really like somebody and they are afraid to make the first move, but there's like a whole vibe, I'll make the move to ask them out.
So you've asked out a guy before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Esther?
I feel like only in a relationship, like, you know, like you're with
Oh,
a
I'm talking about
boyfriend.
like
No.
first date.
No.
It depends on his personality, honestly. If he's really shy, I'll just gonna ask him.
So you've done it before?
Yeah.
Okay. But more often than not, would you say that the men they're asking you out on the first date?
It's better to, like, the guy ask me first.
Okay.
Honest, yeah.
But of all the times that you've been asked out, or you've gone on a first date, or you've met up with someone, would you say more often than not it was the guy initiating that?
The guy first.
The guy first.
Yes.
Okay, got it. So I have an interesting take on this. A take that probably you guys are free to disagree with me on this, but here goes. So I think you should split. I think you should split the check. Obviously that tanks my chances. No, I'm kidding. But I think you should split, and here's why. Because when you're going on a first date with someone, the likelihood that that's going to go anywhere is so greatly diminished in 2022 because people have so many more options. Back in the day, before social media, before dating apps, and even you can go even further back in history, say in the 1950s when sort of these traditional gender roles played out a bit more. If you went on a date with someone in the 1950s, your first ever date with a woman, that might be the woman you spend the rest of your life with. I've been on probably over 100 dates in my life. I'm sure you guys have been on a fair amount of dates. I know you guys are in the college zone, so it sounded like some of you haven't gone on like super proper dates, but so there's that thing. And also as far as like who should pay, so if your answer is whoever asks, men de facto are the askers. So if your answer is whoever asks should pay, your answer might as well be men should pay. So I guess also the other thing is that the other issue I have with it is because people are dating so many people, the guy paying for the date is him adhering to his traditional gender role. But don't hate me, guys. I would say over 90%, probably 95% of women are not traditional women. So if I'm going on a date with a girl, the likelihood that she's fucking another guy, she's at least talking to some other guy. She's at least fucking one other guy. Maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4. So my take is I'm not going to adhere to my traditional gender roles if she's fucking another dude. Because as far as I'm concerned, it's a pretty big L if I take a girl out on a date, let's say dinner. I don't do dinner dates anymore, but if I took a girl out for a dinner date, right? She gets some food, she gets a doggy bag, she takes that shit to go. Gives me an ass out hug, Oh, it was nice date, see ya. Takes that doggy bag to the guy she's fucking, gives the guy she's fucking the doggy bag. He eats the food, then fucks her. I would have an issue with that. So it's just like all the traditional gender roles have kind of been thrown out. So yeah, I'm not going to adhere to and I advise men to do this too. I'm not going to adhere to my traditional gender roles with women who are not traditional. newsflash, 90% of women are not traditional women.
That's a large number. That's a very large number, I think you just said.
You think it's more women are traditional?
I think men don't realize how much women are still traditional. Obviously, both genders have strayed from the typical, completely typical gender norms from like the 50s or whatever. But most men don't even allow women to not be traditional. Like, if I have a boyfriend or something, 9 times out of 10, I'm doing majority of the cleaning or the cooking or of some sorts like that. So I am still living up to my gender roles. So if on a first date you ask me out somewhere and you can't afford the full bill, you're obviously either living out of your means or something's going on. You shouldn't be asking me out on a date. So it's like a off first impression to me.
Okay, so you consider yourself traditional?
In some senses no. Like, I wouldn't mind if I did have kids. I wouldn't mind staying home and being with my kids and never going to work. He pays for I'm not going to complain
if
about
that. If you had a partner who could,
if
who
that
could
could work.
support
But if I have to go
sure.
to work, that's no problem with me. I wouldn't mind working either.
Fair enough.
Whatever works for our household. I know they're probably chewing me up. It's fine.
Okay, cool. So, do any of I saw a couple grimaces when I was giving my take. Do any of you want to come in and respond?
Yeah, I wanted to say what you were saying. I think you were inconsistent in your answer or like your comment because you said that the men are traditionally the ones who are going to ask the woman out. So
yes.
That's the tradition you're willing to keep, but then the paying you're not willing to keep because you said that men adhere to that. So like, what's the inconsistency? And also I wanted to add that your point is correct about people meeting more like people now. Our circles are bigger because of social media, of dating apps. This has been proven by like so many like research articles, everything. There's a whole book about it. But that means like we're not willing to settle. So I guess it's like, are you willing to go past the first date to see, oh, is this my type of person? Or do we move on immediately because the circle is so big? So that's just my take on it.
So to answer your first thing, you're saying that something about how men have to initiate?
That's what you said. You're like, men traditionally initiate.
Yes.
So when you girls are assuming that who invites you, men are traditionally going to initiate. So,
yes.
But then the men aren't traditionally going to pay. So I'm just really confused, like the notion of traditional roles here. Like you're unwilling to follow one, but willing to follow the other, which is totally fine. I don't really get it.
Just so I understand. So you're saying that I'm acknowledging that men initiate, but how can I simultaneously, how do I reconcile that the bill should be split on the first date?
I feel like...
am I understanding you properly?
Kind of. Well, I guess my question is like, you're willing to follow one rule, it seems like, which is okay, and not the other, which is totally cool as well.
Well, so I would say this, and I didn't really give my take on this, but I would be 100% in favor of women initiating. But the fact of the matter is that women don't have to, and women, quite frankly, don't. It's, broadly speaking, most men's experience, I would say almost all men's experience, even really top-tier men, that they're going to have to initiate. If men don't initiate, like, we don't really get hit on in the same frequency that women get hit on. Like, most of you have probably been approached at a party, a bar or a club, maybe a couple times in the night. I mean, you're a bartender. You probably got 10 guys in the night trying to talk to you, whatever it may be. But a guy, for example, like at a bar or club, if a woman goes to a bar or club, there's a decent chance, like maybe at least one guy, a couple guys are going to hit on her. If a guy goes to a bar or club, just goes in the corner, right? Nobody's going to talk to him the entire fucking night. He's going to stand there all alone. Same thing at a party. As a guy, you go to a party, nobody's coming to talk to you. So, and same thing with on dating apps. Most women will not initiate on dating apps. I'm fully in favor of women initiating. I think I've been initiate like 3 or 4 times women have initiated through my DMs. That's probably how much some of y'all get in a weekend. So, go ahead.
Okay, but I feel like it has to do with us getting let down so many times that we're scared to initiate it. We have to know that they like us a little bit at least, before we do anything.
What do you mean by getting let down so many times? Because most women don't like hit on guys, so
Well,
like
just,
it's mostly dudes getting fucking rejected
like guys,
dozens or hundreds of times.
Guys are usually assholes, and we know that. So we don't want to be the ones that hurt ourselves.
What do you mean by guys are the assholes?
I think it's that guys shoot their shot more often than girls do. So then when girls do, we want to make sure that it's actually gonna work.
Yeah. Well, and I would also say that when women do initiate, compared to men, women's success rate is going to be far higher. Like you're much more likely if you initiate for it to work versus guys. We gotta play the numbers game a little bit.
I would think that it's when the girls do initiate, we would think that, oh, if we're willing to do that, other girls are willing to do it too.
Sure.
Because say like this guy must be that worthy that we're willing to go out of our way and like get the courage to actually hit on them. But then if this guy's worthy enough, I'm sure other girls will do that too, and then that feels a little bit scary, I think.
Oh, so you're saying that of the guys that you would initiate with, they're so high tier,
Probably
or they're
they're
really
gonna get it,
attractive,
yeah.
then you're thinking, okay, he's probably
Getting this from other girls too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or I mean, even if he's not, like he still has a lot of options when he's initiating.
That's how I feel, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.